Welcome to Learning Through Math, the podcast. I'm Laura at I Teach the Why.
I'm Karina at Mrs. Cousins 5. Our mission is to inspire ourselves and others to keep learning and improving with passion.
And hugs! You can find us at learningthroughmath.com and on Twitter at Laura and Karina.
Come and join us on this journey of learning.
Thanks for joining us. We are recording this in October of 2020.
And welcome to episode 19, From Number Paths to Number Lines.
This is going to be another good one.
Very excited. And a big shout out and thank you to Super Teacher 524 who wrote us a review on Apple Podcasts. And it says, since I am fortunate to know both of you, I knew this podcast would have amazing math content. What I realize is that I also feel like I am finding out more things about each of you. And I truly enjoy that. Thank you for keeping it real and for motivating all listeners to just keep learning. I think that is a special gift. Heart emoji, thumbs up emoji, light bulb emoji. Aww. Loved it. And we know who this is. This is Karina. So thank you, Karina, another Karina.
Other Karina.
Thank you for your shout out. We do love getting these. We love hearing from you and how you're joining us in the journey together.
My reflection this week, I just wanted to say thank you to my math whisperers. On our last episode, you had said that I'm on your shoulder whispering in your ear, and Graham Fletcher is whispering in your ear. I have so many math whisperers that I don't even know if I could name them all. So I just want to give a huge thank you to everybody that's influenced the way that I have been teaching math, especially these past 10 years.
Absolutely.
I can't thank them
enough.
I
know, the list is endless, and luckily we are continually adding to that list, I feel like.
Yes, we definitely are. Okay, our good news.
We are just loving, I think I mentioned this a little bit already, but we're just loving all the mentions on Twitter that we're receiving and the reviews on Apple Podcast. We're super grateful. You don't know how excited we get when we get something new in our inbox and we see it. We like fangirl a little bit.
I know.
Right? We get really, really excited. So it just means the world to us that you're listening and you're with us through this adventure.
Yes, this journey of learning, because we don't know, honestly, who we're reaching unless we do hear from people.
Right.
And we're doing this for ourselves.
Right.
But we're not making a dime or anything like that. So we do want to say a giant thank you to all of you that are engaging with us online or in person.
Thank you.
We're going to jump into today's topic, which is from number paths to number lines. Why did you want to talk about this one?
I think it stemmed from what I said in the last episode about how Brody saw the power of the number line and then my students haven't. And I see that every year. I say, let's use a number line to model this, and there's groans.
The groans.
But by the end of this school year, there's no groans.
Right.
You know, because I think that they do understand.
They see the value.
They see the value of it.
The model.
They get it. It's not just another strategy that I'm going to throw up on an anchor chart. It's actually something that will help us visualize what is happening.
Exactly.
And we know that math is visual, and we need to teach it visually, which is why the number line is such an important tool to use.
Yes. When I was doing some research about number paths to get ready for this episode, of course we know about Christina Tondevold's, the recovering traditionalist. I will definitely link her blog into the show notes. I also know that Kyle Pierce's website, mathisvisual.com, had a really good explanation and a whole linear model of a number path. That one I'll definitely link to the show notes too. But I also came across a blog on Didax Education's website, and I really liked this one because it was very succinct. There was a whole Q&A blog, and it said that Margaret McGinty, who's an educator and creator of a pocket chart that they sell, right? But the first question was, how are number paths different from number lines? And I loved this answer because it was very simple. A number path is a counting model. Numbers are represented by rectangles, and each rectangle can be counted. A number line is a length model like a ruler. Each number is represented by its length from 0. I got to thinking about when you still have little kids, but when Christian was little and playing games like Candyland and Chutes and Ladders and anything with a board.
Yes.
Where you move the pieces. That's all a number path. All of that is.
That's true.
Think about when we play Monopoly and you go from get out of jail free or the visiting area to the free parking.
Right.
We know that that's a 10 jump. Or from one corner to the middle to the railroad, that's a 5 jump. But it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the railroad, right? Or counting from one corner all the way to another corner is a 10.
Right.
That's a true number path.
Right.
So I think we all learned it without it being called number path.
Right.
How many board games do you think you played as a little kid?
Oh my gosh.
Endless.
Right. A lot.
And you've seen my game.
Yes.
My game closet.
Yeah. Ours is about half the size, but again, you've been collecting for a little bit longer than I have. Yeah.
Are you saying I'm old?
No.
You.
No,
I am. That's okay.
But yes, absolutely. And now that you say that, it's true. All of those games they have number paths, and even like Chutes and Ladders is like a hundreds chart.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yes.
And it's a bottoms up. It's a bottoms up hundreds chart.
Yes, it is. Which is why I always buy a 3-year-old Candyland if they don't have it, and then their next game I always buy them is Chutes and Ladders. Always. I always try to do that because they're the easiest games for the kids to learn.
Right.
To use, right?
I think the point we're trying to make here is that it just really starts even before school, because these are the games that kids are exposed to from home, from birth, and then they play through them. And when they come to school, they already have an idea of what numbers are,
they have the number sense
Yeah.
that we're always hoping that they have.
Right.
Parents of young children, if you are listening to this, please get the word out, and also with your own children, play board games, dice games, card games, dominoes. What am I missing?
Oh gosh, just all of those.
Any kind of game. Connect 4.
Yeah.
Even though it
Battleship.
says 8 and up. No, you don't need to be 8 to play that.
Right.
If you're an educator and you have access to donations, listen, I ask people for things, right? My mom gave me this quote a long time ago, which was, ask for the world, settle with a continent.
Yeah.
I always ask companies for donations of things. If they can write it off on their taxes, why not? One thing that you reminded me of was whenever we had family math nights or family science nights or family STEM nights, one of our giveaways would be board games because we wanted to get it into the hands of kids.
Yeah.
And you also literally just reminded me that when I was just at my previous school, I had a Donuts for Dads or some kind of male adult figure to come in and be with their kid for breakfast.
Right.
That day I had created games on cardstock, and I invited the dads to stay, or whoever the male figure was, to stay once the kids were released to go to class, and I taught them how to play these 4 games.
Gotcha.
And then they got to take it home.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So let's come back to number paths versus number lines.
But it really does start there.
It does.
That's the starting point. And then once they get into school, through kindergarten and first grade, that's when the number path is introduced.
And should be used until the kids have a firm sense of number.
Now, when you start with a number path, because again, I teach 5th, so kindergarten is
a little beyond.
a little beyond what I know. Do you start with rectangles to manipulate?
Actually, when I use a number path with the littles, I print them out.
Okay.
So it's a string of, and I use the 11 by 17 paper where it's just a number in a rectangle. So it starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Usually those are shaded one color. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are shaded another color. 11 to 15.
Okay.
16 to 20. And it's just a row with rectangles with those numbers in them. That way, when the kids are trying to figure out 1 and how many more to get to 5, because knowing to 5 fluently is one of the standards in kindergarten. If they have a little bear or a little cutesy little thing on 1, then they know 2, 3, 4, 5.
Gotcha.
They just made 4 more jumps, which I think that's probably where that whole jumping idea came from for number lines. Because when they get into 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and we talk about making hops or jumps, I think that's probably where it stemmed from.
Because the bear is going down the path,
exactly.
right? Or whatever it is that a frog is jumping down the path, right?
Right. The students need this understanding, though, so that when we take the path and turn it into a number line, that they understand that. And I have seen where it does look like a number line is integrated into a number path, and then you take the path away and it's the space from the 0 to 1 and the space from the 1 to 2 that is still a path, but now we're moving into the linear model instead of the counting model.
Right. What I like about the number path is how it does transfer into a hundreds chart so nicely. Right?
Yes.
That you can see the relationship between going from a straight line to now we're just going to take these different parts and stack them on top of each other.
And I have seen where teachers have kids cut the hundreds board and make it into 0 or 1 all the way to the 100 straight across.
Right.
A huge number path. I think the hundreds chart is definitely more abstract for kids, because when they get to that 10, it's like, where do they go? What are they? And they have to know, the reason why you need to go down to the next row all the way back to the left if you're doing a traditional hundreds chart.
Yeah. What's the reason to go down? Just because we're filling it at 10.
Right? If we're stopping it at 10, we have to go down to the next row to start at 11. However, that's also showing that
the patterns.
If you do the notice and wonder, the patterns there's a 1 in each of these columns in the ones place. There's a 2 in each of these in this column in the ones place.
Right.
There's so much noticing and wondering that can happen when the number path changes into a hundreds board. And I fear that people bring out the hundreds board and the number lines too fast.
Too soon. Absolutely.
Yeah, too soon.
Absolutely.
When the students don't have that firm grasp of number sense yet.
Right. Well, and even I'm also trying to think of like all the connections, all the things that are rooted from the number path.
Oh my, everything.
Everything is, because then you can even a hundreds chart is just like a flat. A base 10 flat. And then
if that's the one that you're representing using 100.
Right. And when we talk about number lines and we model using fraction bars, I mean, that is...
How many times have you asked your 5th graders, are there numbers between 0 and 1? And they say,
no, doesn't exist. Yeah, even after we've just done the unit on fractions, right? We've just talked about 1/2 and how it's between 0 and 1. And then the next day I'll ask them, so what are some numbers between 0 and 1? What do you mean? There aren't any.
Right. Right.
And this is after decimals even.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, they don't see
that connection. They didn't make that connection yet.
Right. Modeling with fraction bars. I've seen an issue with kids not being able to read thermometers and graduated cylinders. So in science, this reluctance to use the number line and understand it is apparent in science when we're using those measuring tools. Well, it's tricky on a thermometer because on one side you have the Fahrenheit and then the Celsius. The thermometers that I have at school, I know the scales are different. I don't remember what it is, but one of them, it goes up by 2 and the other one goes up by 1.
Okay.
And if the kids don't notice the patterns, they're going to be reading the numbers wrong.
Yep. And how about when we get into higher math?
Right. We have the coordinate plane that has 2 number lines now, right? That we focus in because we're only looking at the first quadrant in 5th grade.
Right.
You have 2 number lines going horizontally and vertically. And then later on, you're going to have a third with the X, Y, and Z axis. Every year, I kind of try to look for another way to use the number line. For some things, it's difficult.
So this is where you and I have spoken about using the right tool at the right time.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And maybe the base 10 blocks aren't the best tool to use, but a number line is.
Right.
Or a fraction bar.
Right.
Which is really a number line.
Yeah.
But a concrete piece of it.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. That's why it's such a powerful tool. Mm-hmm. And as teachers, we just need to remember that number lines are everywhere and we can't skip the number line.
Oh gosh, no.
We have to embrace it. We have to use it. We have to continue to model it and make it accessible for kids so that they are comfortable with them. They need to be comfortable with the number line.
I almost feel like maybe on the tiles at school, out in the hallway, we could create a big number line.
Yeah.
And maybe in the K1 area, we put number paths. We
right.
just put blue tape around the whole tile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Okay, so let's go back to games. Hopscotch.
Yes.
I was thinking about this earlier, how important that was as a game, and kids aren't playing it anymore.
That's true.
We need to bring back some of our old school games.
Yeah. It only took us 19 episodes to figure out what we're going to do on different days.
Right.
We've got that our episodes are released every Sunday.
At 1 a.m. Eastern.
Nice and early.
Eastern Standard Time.
Every Sunday.
Well, we did that because maybe people over in the other side of the world, they're during their day. So.
That's right. And what we've decided is that from now on Mondays, we will post the challenge from that Sunday's podcast.
Okay.
And Thursdays, we'll do a little Thursday throwback.
I love those.
Or Throwback Thursday. And what we'll include is a quote or an idea or a challenge from a past episode.
I love it. The challenge for this week, listeners, is to keep engaging with us, either posting something on Twitter or commenting or giving us a review or giving us 5 stars. You could send us an email at learningthroughmath@gmail.com or tag us on Twitter. This way we know that people are listening.
Right. And we would
love to give you a shout out on a future episode. Thanks for joining us. We'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast and give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting platform. We invite you to join the conversation on Twitter by using the hashtag #LearningThroughMath.
We'd love to hear your feedback. Make sure to tag us at Laura and Karina. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
To you too.